A formal document not only contains an index, but will also contain a table of content. And the table of content resides at the beginning of the document and generally has the main headings in the table of content. To create a table of content, it's essential that you've used styles for your headings. I can tell by looking at my navigation pane that I've used a heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 style. So I should be able to create a table of content really quickly. To create a table of content, I'm going to press Control Home to go to the top of the document. I'll then press Control Enter to create a page break and have my table of content on its own page. Control Enter. I'll then press Control Home again to go to the top of what is now page 1. I then want to insert my table of content. To insert my table of content, I choose References from the ribbon and I go to Table of Contents on the far left. There are some automatic ones here which you could choose, or you could go into Custom Table of Content and have a little bit more input into the table of content design. You can see here immediately it's going to use my headings 1, 2 and 3. If I had utilised 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, I could increase it to 9. And it will basically use your heading styles. If I had a lot of headings and I didn't want a huge table of content, I might take it down to just including my headings 1 and 2. So I'll go just headings 1 and 2 and I'll choose Formal. And OK. And there's my table of content, just including headings 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. If I change my mind and think actually I should have used headings 1, 2 and 3, then I'll go back and insert a table of content. Custom Table of Content, and I'll choose 3 levels. As soon as I go OK, it will ask me, do you want to replace the table of content? And I'll go yes. And now I can say I've got 3 levels in my table of content. Now your table of content, just like your index, is a field. In other words, we didn't type it, it generated itself. And when we were looking at the index, we learnt that Alt F9 lets us see the code behind the field. I'm going to do it with the table of content as well. If you press Alt F9, you will see the code behind the table of content. In other words, you'll see the field. And this code is saying this is a table of content in the order of headings 1 to 3, and it is using the headings. And the Z actually means formal. If I press Alt F9 again, it turns it off. So Alt F9 turns on and turns off the code, or the field code. Now because it's a field, it means that it's going to need to be updated. And so often we need to go to our table of content and just click to the left and choose Update Table. Choose Update Table to refresh the table of content if anything has moved in your document. When I click it, it asks me, do you want to update just the page numbers or the entire table? And I'll tell it to update the entire table. And OK. Now I've set mine that whenever a field is in my document, it automatically shows with this grey behind it. And you may have noticed that was the case with my index as well. If I press Control End to go to the end of my document, notice my index is grey. And Control Home to go to the top of my document, so too is my table of content. I've actually set up my Word that whenever there's a field in a document, it will automatically show it as grey so I can spot them easily. What we do to do that is we go to File and we go to Options. And what you'll find under Advanced is Field Shading. And it's in the Display group. Oh, actually it's just above the Display group. Field shading for me is on Always, so it always shows me any fields in a document. Not just when they're selected, but any fields in the document. And this is really handy. So you might want to do it as well. And OK. That means that if I want to update my table of content, I need to, well, actually update my table of content and my index, because that's a field as well. I might go Control A to select the entire document, and then I'll press F9, which is the shortcut key for update. Then I'll choose entire table and OK. Control A selects all, table of content and index, and F9 updates all fields. So that's a good habit to get into to ensure that your table of content is correct and up to date, and so is your index. Now just coming back to styles as well, which we did a wee while ago. If you're unhappy with the look of your table of content, you don't manually change the formatting. What we need to do is ascertain the styles behind these table of content entries. Now, we learned in an earlier video that you can switch to draft view, and you can do that by going to view and by going to draft. And you can switch back to print layout by going to this button. So we tend to work between print layout and draft, so I'm going to go back to print layout. Now there's also a key combination. If you want to go to draft using a key combination, it's Control Alt N for Nelly, for new, and Control Alt P is print layout. So I'm going to go Control Alt N back to the draft view. Now when I'm in the draft view, because I turned on my style area pane in an earlier video, I can see that the style behind here is TOC1, the style behind this is TOC2, and the style behind break the rules and allocating your money is TOC3. And they appear in my styles task pane. So if someone came to me and said, I really don't like the use of italics in that table of content, I would want to remove the italics by modifying TOC3. I'll go to this style, I'll choose modify, and I'll take off the italics. As soon as I go OK, the italics is removed from TOC3. So if you're unhappy with the look of your table of content, you really need to get to the underlying style and modify the style.